A shipment of high-value medical supplies is loaded onto a vessel in Mumbai. The shipper signs the paperwork, the goods are securely packed, and the ship sets sail. Weeks later, the vessel arrives in London, but when the cargo doors are opened, the medicine is found completely destroyed. Immediately, a multi-million-dollar standoff begins. The cargo owner demands full compensation for their ruined goods. The ship owner pushes back, arguing that the open ocean is inherently dangerous and they cannot be held responsible for every damaged box. Resolving a conflict of this scale requires a universally accepted referee to determine who actually pays for the loss. That referee is the Hague Rules of 1924. Incorporated in India through the Carriage of Goods by Sea Act of 1925, the Hague Rules serve as a legal equalizer. They balance the mandatory duties of the carrier against the unavoidable disasters that happen at sea. To trigger these rules, the cargo owner makes the first move. They must prove two facts. They handed the goods over in good condition, and those goods arrived damaged. The moment that damage is proven, the burden of proof shifts. The law presumes the carrier is at fault, which forces them to defend their actions. To avoid paying for the ruined medicine, the carrier must face a court audit. The judge will check their actions against two strict legal checklists to determine if they exercised due diligence throughout the journey. The investigation starts by turning the clock back to the moments before the ship even left the dock. Here, the law expects the carrier to practice due diligence. This brings us to the first checklist, Article 3, Rule 1. Before departure, the carrier is legally obligated to make the ship seaworthy. Seaworthiness is a highly specific legal standard. It means repairing hull damage, ensuring refrigerated holds are functional, and supplying the vessel with fuel, navigation equipment, and a competent crew. If the ship was broken before it sailed, the carrier is automatically liable. But on this voyage, the ship was in perfect working order. The investigation moves out to sea. Once the ship hits the open ocean, the carrier's daily operational responsibilities take over. Under Article 3, Rule 2, the carrier must properly and carefully load, handle, stow, carry, keep, care for, and discharge the goods carried. One of those specific verbs is stowage. Proper stowage means arranging the cargo securely inside the hold, based on its specific nature, so it doesn't cause harm to anything else on board. The ship's logs reveal exactly what happened during loading. The fragile cartons of medicine were stowed directly beside heavy industrial chemical containers. Mid-voyage, those heavy containers leaked. The chemicals pooled onto the deck and corroded the packaging, destroying the medical supplies. The carrier failed in their duty to properly stow and care for the cargo. Because this was a preventable human error, the carrier is guilty of breaching Article 3, Rule 2. They are on the hook for the entire loss unless they can prove a statutory defense. The Hague Rules do provide an escape route. Article 4 outlines a list of recognized scenarios that shield the carrier from blame. If the cargo is destroyed by an act of God, like a massive tsunami or an abnormally violent storm, the law shields the carrier from liability. They are also protected from inherent vice. If a cargo of fresh fruit naturally ripens and rots away during transit, the carrier isn't penalized for the cargo destroying itself. But these exceptions evaporate the moment human negligence is involved. A carrier cannot point to an act of God to cover up a mistake in stowage. We return to the London dockside to issue the final legal verdict. The carrier tried to claim the open ocean caused the cargo shift that led to the leak. But because they improperly stored chemicals next to medicine in the first place, they cannot use the perils of the sea defense to escape blame. The consequence is immediate. The carrier is held financially liable and must compensate the cargo owner for the ruined medical supplies. The law does not demand perfection. It does not force the carrier to be an absolute insurer against every possible harm. It simply demands they act as a careful and prudent guardian of the goods they carry. By mandating this strict due diligence, the Hague Rules keep global trade moving. They ensure that cargo is protected without bankrupting the shipping industry over the uncontrollable wrath of nature.